Hi, everyone. It's SS Coulter. It's that time in our week to slow down and bring some joy back into our lives. Today, we're discussing how the way we think about parenting can completely change how we show up and how we can start raising confident, capable kids without feeling like we have to do everything ourselves. So, with that, let there be joy.
Welcome to Let There Be Joy, where SS Coulter talks with experts who share three simple, practical ideas you can actually use to help build a life you don't want to escape from.
Welcome to today's episode of Let There Be Joy. This morning, I was listening to a daily teaching, and it always starts out with praise music. And the riff in the song, for some reason, reminded me of The Tale of Jack Sparrow with Michael Bolton. I have no idea why. And I'm not saying to necessarily go out and watch that, but I did, and it had me absolutely hysterical. It is very stupid humor, which I love. My point in telling you this is a quick tip today for bringing joy into your life is go out and find something that you've seen before that every time you watch it, it makes you laugh. Because when you take that moment, you will enjoy laughing and it will spark other fun memories of things you enjoy. So I just wanted to give you that little easy way to spark joy today. It doesn't, like I said, have to be The Tale of Jack Sparrow. If you do watch that, it is not good to watch around your kids. And that parenting tip leads us into today's guest. She is a Spitfire. She tells it like it is. And she is going to give us really practical advice that will change our perspective on our role as parents. I met her at a networking event last year. So I want to keep stressing, like I've done in the last couple episodes, get out of your comfort zone and start going out and meeting people. You will be so surprised who God puts into your path. It could be just for one phone call, one coffee date, or for a lifetime friendship, like I have with today's guest, Janet Krebs. I'm going to tell you a little more about her, and then we're going to get right into her tips. Janet is a speaker, leadership strategist, and four-time best-selling author who empowers families to lead with confidence, self-reliance, and heart. Drawing from her background in consulting, HR, and education, as well as 14 years as Commander Krebs in a space flight simulator guiding over 65,000 students, she blends practical leadership tools with real-world parenting strategies. But her greatest accomplishment, and I love this, is her two children, Benjamin and Elisa. Hi, Janet. Welcome to the
Uh,
show.
I've been so looking forward to being here. So much fun. Thanks.
This is going to be awesome. Do you want to get right into your tips? Because you are such a wealth of knowledge in the parenting space, and I don't want to waste any time.
Yes. And I think it's appropriate that we let the audience, your listeners, your fans know that, yes, we met at a networking, but it was in the ladies' bathroom.
And okay, yeah, I think we need to let them know like that I seriously do have a love for bathrooms. So it was like totally God ordained that I met you in the bathroom. Yes. And the other thing I didn't point out, and I've missed every single show, so thank you for taking this pause, my brooch. So my hair has been sitting over my brooch in the last two shows, and I wore this really small one for Janet today. It kind of represents her personality. It's just giant. I wanted to go right into your first tip that you sent me, and it's about being the CEO of your family. Can you just explain to us how that works?
So if we think of any organization, an office building, right? Any company, there's the office, CEO, and right next to it, typically there's the COO or the senior vice president. One office, one human. And I would love to invite the listeners to step into the idea that when we pull CEO-ship, which is leadership in a version of leadership, back into the home, you moms are the CEOs, but you're not the chief executive officer. You're the chief everything officer. So chief medical, chief logistics, chief nutrition, chief transportation, chief communications. The list goes on and on and on. So from this moment forward, can we just abolish, strong word, but I'll use it, abolish the term just a mom? Because we are not just anything. And when we step into being the chief everything officer, the CEO, as the leadership posture that it is, I think that's a game changer.
I really like that, Janet, because so many people feel they have to work outside of the home because the role of the mom has been really belittled. I know it's changing a little bit, but it is a tough role. It is a full time job. And when you think about all the different hats you have to wear, you are the CEO.
Yes. And there's another side to that. And that is, aside from us being the role models, the mentors, and all that goes with that, isn't it true? I know them. Do you know them maybe? Those women that do go into the workplace every day and they have their jobs, and many of them are in leadership or aspiring to be in leadership. And then they come home and they forget that it's a very similar skill set. Or should we say there's so much crossover with the professional skill sets that they're bringing into the home. And then all of a sudden it's just mom,
That is
but
a really good point, Janet.
it's the same skill set, but for some reason we abandon it.
Why do you think we do that? Do you have any insight as to why we do that?
I would love to just say that we love buckets in our world. We love silos. So it's like home, work, like work-life balance. We love defining moments. I don't even know what to call it. It's like segments, right? All I'm thinking is that there are some skills that transfer all day. We don't ever hang them up. If I'm a role model for my children, I'm probably a role model for my employees as well.
If you're at work or whatever you do and you're giving the vision, let's say you're giving
Right.
the vision for where the company is leading, that you're saying take that and bring it to your family and give them the vision as to where your family is going. That kind of skill.
Have a vision.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Have a vision for your family. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, let's get out of compartmentalizing those things and when leadership, now I'll say it differently, because leadership is integrated into who we are and what we do, why do we hesitate to execute it in everything we do? How about returning the grocery cart to the, what do they call that? The carol,
We'll call it the
right?
cart capturer. That's not
Right.
it, but that's what we're going to call
Right.
it.
The little cart hut, whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
If you're like, this is such a seemingly insignificant example, but let's say you've got 2 toddlers with you and you're grocery shopping and you leave the cart in front of the car or next to the car and you get the kids in and then you leave it there. What are we teaching our kids? But when you
No
say,
responsibility, and
right,
not responsibility and not caring about other people. That
right.
you just hit on one of my very I get very upset when people do that.
But I would go one step further. Yes, it is a personal integrity moment. But boy, when you've got kids with you and you don't do those things, they're watching. Conversely, they do watch when you get into the car or whatever. And like, I always park next to the cart thing because I want it to be convenient. So let's say I put my kids in the car and I go and dump the cart and then I get back in the car and I'm freezing cold because we're in Indiana. And it was so cold doing that, but I'm glad I did it. It'll make it easier for somebody else. Lesson learned.
To your point there, it's the same thing that you would do in a work environment, in a volunteer environment. You're going to lead by example. So you're
Correct.
just saying, why are we separating these things? And that's the practicality of this. It's so simple when you think about it. So I really like that.
Yeah, that's
That
why I
mind
call it everyday leadership. When we
Yeah.
focus on the transferability of leadership skills, we do find that they are everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere.
I'm sure we could sit here and list a bunch of them. We're going to move to
Yeah.
your second tip. We don't raise kids. We actually raise the adults of our tomorrow. That is a very big shift in how we're thinking.
It goes, and I'm so glad you actually mentioned it because it goes to when you said the vision, having the vision for the company or the project or whatever it is. When the vision of your family is to raise the adults, young adults, right? 18, 19, 20, whatever. And if the vision is to prepare them to go out into the world and live on their own, and do so without heartache, without a tremendous amount of struggle, making it impossible, then what we do when they are with us changes.
I see what you're saying. So I'm picturing, I have a 5-year-old right now, but I'm picturing him as a 25-year-old. And if I can
Correct.
keep that vision of him in my head, in my heart, it's going to be easier for me to do things like be very on top of choices and consequences, because I need him to understand, even if it's not putting your toys away, not putting the cart away, that's going to have repercussions when you're an adult.
Yeah. Yeah. It's parenting really is, for me, it's about closing the gap between what we do for kids and what they are able to do. And it's a process.
It is a process, and it's a painful process sometimes, because I think one of the hardest things to do is punish your children. Any kind of punishment, because you want them to be happy, but you realize, hey, I told you not to do that. I said if you did that, this is going to happen. And it's hard to follow through, but if you can keep your mind on the fact that this is going to happen to them in the real world, so let's show them what this actually means. So hopefully their choices are good choices that lead to good consequences as they get older.
100%. And there's so many examples. Punishment is one of them. But even just think about, oh, I don't know. I love telling the story about helping my children understand money, right? And I remember Elisa, she would be 5 and or 6. I didn't do an allowance, but they were allowed to work around the house for extra money if there were things that they really wanted that I didn't value and I didn't think they needed. And so hands on hip, little Elisa is just like, well, what am I supposed to be able to do? I'm 5. I'm 7. Like, and she had a good point. I should have brought it with me, but did you ever know that there's a grout eraser?
No.
Like, it looks kind of like a bar of soap, and it's kind of like this little rubbery sandpaper thing that you rub over your grout, and it takes out stains and stuff. Gets a little sandy, right? It's like an eraser. I had the best grout when my kids were growing up. I had the cleanest grout because it was literally the only thing she could do. Like 4, 5, like that's what she did. And she'd be like, "But I really want that," and I would just hand her the eraser, no discussion. I would just hand her there. Well, how long do I have to do it? I don't know. You have to do that section over there. No argument.
But she's learning that if I want something and I work for it, I can then raise the money to get it.
There's so many
So
lessons.
many lessons there.
But again, so people are like, well, Janet, that's not realistic. My children are young. There's always something.
You can make stuff up. You can
Oh, yeah.
you can have them organize their sock drawer and take out the ones that have holes in them. There's so many simple things that
Well,
you
see,
can come up.
that's where you're the magician. You have that wonderful, playful mind. And honestly, that would be fun PDF to prepare for your listeners, like all of the fun things. Because I was always so practical. And when you're in the weeds of it, you're thinking practical. But I love that idea.
That's in the app that we have that's going to be on the site. That's called Parent Time. We have a bunch of stuff like that the kids are just doing simple things, but you get 5 minutes to breathe. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Bring joy back to your kids' day with Planet Fasa. Character building books, daily games, free screenlight activities, coloring pages, and more. Visit the Planet Fasa at sscoulter.com.
Hello, welcome back. And we are here with Janet, and we're going to go right into her third tip. I'm excited to talk about this. Do a capacity audit and pick a chore or responsibility or habit to transfer responsibility. So tell us more about that.
It has to do with closing that gap of capability versus what we as parents hold on to. The audit that you would do for yourself, and I just call it a capacity audit, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. Things that I would love to stop doing for my kid.
Can you give us some examples? I mean, I understand this is going to be different for every kid and every parent and every household, but I want people to just hear some examples so they can say, oh yeah, I can do that.
Homework is like a lot of people's kryptonite, right? It's the eye roll. Mom, like if I hear mom one more time. Homework is an easy one. We can talk about it. Backpacks is another one. Getting kids organized the day before school, having them be responsible for getting their backpacks ready and by the door by themselves. I can't tell you how many moms I talk to that are still doing that for children that should be, and I do not use that word lightly because I'm not a
Right.
should coach, but
You don't should on people.
I don't should on people. We
But
we
in
we
this
really we don't want to be a should
but
society.
in this instance, you're saying this is so important with the backpacks that you
It is
use that word.
important with the
Yeah.
backpacks because what are you going to do when you have your first job and it
Right.
necessitates you to make sure that you have your ID? How many of us leave the, phone, wallet, keys? Like it's the same mentality, getting ourselves ready before we leave the house. What do I need? If I'm for errands the next day, have I loaded the car? Because two of them are returns and I've got my list and I need to make sure that I get gas. So I need to schedule that. There's a logistical rubric cube that we do in our brains. But when we don't allow our kids to develop one for themselves, then they don't know how to do that. So the backpack is just it's a representation of preparing yourself for the future. It's forward thinking.
If we put it just really simply, it's the night before, you have the child put everything he or she needs into the backpack. And I would assume in the background after they go to bed, you can check and make sure in the beginning that they've got
In
everything.
the
But I would
beginning,
think,
maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
in the beginning, because we have to let our kids fail sometimes. So if they do it and they forget something, they get to school and they don't have it, that will make them better at this skill going forward because then they'll be more serious about it. I want to go back to the homework one. How would you suggest people? What did you mean by homework?
Okay. So homework it's so hard. And I would ask for all of your listeners, wherever you are right now, because you can think about this mental question. Like, where do your kids do their homework? Where did your kids do their homework?
My kids did their homework in the kitchen right with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is very typical because we want to be available. And then they're like, Mom, I need help with this. What does this mean? What does this say? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You know where my kids did their homework? In the dining room on the other side of the wall, even when they were very little. And it was, Mom. I was like, in 30 minutes, I will come back and you're going to have all of your questions for me then. But
Oh, Janet, that is that's a game changer.
I can't keep coming in every 5 seconds, right? Because what we're doing is, and especially today, and this segues right into your work with unplugging. It's a now, me, my mentality. And so kids want the answer right then and there. There's no wait. But when we ask them to just wait and batch their questions, I would say guarantee. I'm going to go ahead and say guarantee. When we let kids sit and stew with their questions, I would guarantee that at least 50%, probably higher, of those questions they would go back and be able to answer for themselves.
And that is incredible because it develops that skill of research, of looking, of figuring stuff out on your own.
Problem solving.
Problem solving, all of those things, of being frustrated and sitting in it and going and finding out what you need to know. We're all guilty of this right now. You immediately Google something instead of using your brain to figure out what could, I mean, it's for us too, this now. So that is a game changer. And I like that you put a limit on it. It's 30 minutes. So if you are really stuck with something, I'm here for you. I love you, but I want you to see how smart you are, how capable you are.
Yeah.
And then when once they start knowing that, then they're more comfortable and they're more capable and feel better about themselves in other aspects too.
And here's the other side of that. Imagine a child who has you standing over them. What is that doing to performance anxiety or you being that safety net? And I remember, because my kids are older, long gone, flown and grown. But I remember initially, if I stood over them, it was just like, Mom, like this little whiplash thing. I just had to get away. just move out. And they heard me. I'm clanking in the kitchen and, I'm still there and they know I'm there, but they're just working on their own.
I can think that that would translate then into also another thing that's so close to my heart. But if I can be in this room and mom's there and I can be figuring stuff out on my own, we can translate that into I can be outside and mom's in the house and I can play out here and I'm safe and I'm confident. So that's a great move. So two of the things we talked about that I really like is the backpack and the homework. Can we go for a third one? Is there a third place that we can do an audit?
Okay, so here's one for older kids. Although homework seems to be even an issue in middle school and things like that. How about waking up to the alarm?
Oh gosh, yes, I did that with Mike. It'd be a painful one because you've got to let them miss the bus.
Hey, I got one better. You want to hear a fun story on that?
Yes, of course.
Ben missed the bus. He was a last minute Sally, still is actually at 30. He'll be 34 this summer. He still is a last minuter. And it made me absolutely crazy because I'm not a last minuter. And he did miss the bus once. Well, my work was the opposite direction. So I had to go north, school was south. I didn't have time to take him. He was like, well, Mom, let's go. I was like, I'm not taking you to school. And he said, well, how am I supposed to get there? I was like, that's an excellent question for Ben Krebs. Like, I don't know what to tell you on that. I said, our neighbor, Dennis, I was like, Dennis is still home. Ask him if he'll take you to school. So he was like, I can't do, oh, yeah, you can, because otherwise you're home today. And I don't know how you're going to back out of that one. Long story short, he walks himself over to Dennis's house. And then I see Dennis and Ben go on down the road. And apparently they made it to school. Ask me how many times he missed the bus ever.
He never missed it again. That's
Never
exactly what
missed it.
happened in my house. But you've got to. So I think we've come to the conclusion on this podcast that we do not gentle parent here. But I mean, choices and consequences is one of the big things I write about in my books for the kids because that's not always negative. Good choices have good consequences, but you have to know that your actions spark reactions. I think those three things alone are so helpful, Janet. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to recap the three things that you told us today. And then I'm going to have you tell people where they can find you for more expert advice like this. So number one, you are the CEO of your family, and that means chief everything officer, the role model, the mentor influencer, all of these different things. You have a vision. Bring your vision into your family, share it with them, lead by example. Number two, change the way you think about raising your kids. You're not just raising kids, you're actually raising the adults of tomorrow. And if you can frame it that way, the things that you have to go through are going to be much easier for you in that frame of mind. The number three, do a capacity audit and pick a chore or responsibility or habit to transfer responsibility to so you build those skills in your kids. So those are three excellent tips. Janet, where can people find more of you?
The name of my business is Raising Independence. Shocker! However, I don't market under that. I mean, I do that in person. If you just look up my name, you will find my website is janetkrebs.com. On Facebook, it's Janet Krebs. My name will get you anywhere you need to be.
And for those just listening, it's JanetKrebs. And I'm going to hold up her book. Such a good book. Your amazing itty bitty guide to parenting like a leader. It's short and fast and just rich in knowledge. So I highly recommend that. That's available on Amazon. So if these tips spark something in you, we will have the Joy PDF available with these tips and Janet's insights at sscoulter.com/joy. If this episode gave you something you want to try, sparked an idea, if you do one of these with your kids and it turns out fabulously, or you think of something else, please send me a voice memo on Telegram at sscoulter. And if you've ever been a parent, have known a parent, or had a parent, I would love you to like, subscribe, and share this podcast to others who might need a little more joy in their life.
Next episode, we'll be talking about what to do in those moments when life feels overwhelming and you're not showing up the way you want to, and how a few simple shifts can change that. So I hope you'll join us.
Janet. my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here with us today and imparting your amazing wisdom on us. I wanted to give you one last question. What final word of wisdom can you give our listeners if they want to find more joy in their parenting?
I'm so glad you asked. Tying it back to that, bringing more joy, freeing yourself of the burden of all of this overdoing and responsibility frees you up for those moments of joy. And I promise you, when you see your child have his little backpack by the door, finish homework in 30 minutes, have your teenager go an entire month waking up from an alarm that they set themselves, those baby steps along the way, I promise you, guaranteed, you will look back on their childhood and say, it was a joyous time.
We are going to be raising excellent adults together, and I'm really excited about it. So, for everybody listening today, I just want you to remember that you are loved. You have a wonderful purpose in this life. And this is the day the Lord has made. So, rejoice and be glad in it. Let there be joy. Bye for now.
Did God sleep on the seventh day? No, he was just resting his eyes.